He's the new Westminster leader of the SNP. Hi, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us on the programme. Pleased with the result?
Yes, delighted to see Humza become.
You backed him all along, really, didn't you?
I did. I called it. I think his proposals.
What should he do about Kate Forbes?
I think in terms of Kate, you know, we need to recognise the fact that Kate received a huge number of votes.
She sure did. Couldn't have got much closer.
And I've absolutely no doubt that Humza will be having conversations with Kate to see where they can work together going forward. Now, some of that may include discussions about ministerial posts or cabinet secretary posts. I'm not privy to such information, but I've no doubt that they're having those discussions now.
And I'm sure we'll find out in the fullness of time. I mean, once the celebration has ended, he's got an awful lot of work to do, not least to try to reunite your party.
I've heard this put forward a fair bit, but if you actually look at the votes yesterday in terms of the transfers, and this is an important point, around 2/3 of SNP members actually cast a vote on number 1 or on number 2 for both Kate and Humza. So in many respects,
they couldn't decide which one.
In many respects, so that shows that the party is not divided in the way that people think it is. And I've no doubt that moving forward, Humza will be no longer Team Humza, no longer Team Kate, no longer Team Ash. It'll be Team SNP, MSPs. And that's the important thing going forward, because it's what the party would expect of us, but it's also what the public would expect from us.
Some suggestions there should be a snap election?
In terms of Holyrood, well, of course, the big difference between the Scottish Parliament and Westminster is that over the road there, MPs don't get to vote for who the Prime Minister is. That's in complete contrast to Holyrood, where MSPs, opposition parties today, will get to put forward their candidate to be First Minister. We will obviously put forward our candidate.
Scottish people haven't chosen the First Leader, though, have they?
Well, but the process in Scotland is completely different, because the Scottish Parliament, the First Minister, is elected in the same way that Cabinet Secretaries, as I understand it, will be elected in the coming days too by the Parliament itself. That's in stark contrast to Westminster. We do things slightly differently in Scotland, so the people who don't want Humza to be the leader of Scotland will have the opportunity to vote against him today.
So that's no to a snap election?
I don't think a snap election is on the horizon, no.
OK. When there finally is an election that also involves the Westminster Parliament, probably not until the end of next year, is what Lord Hayward was saying when he was sat where you are the other day, not least because of what's happening with inflation, and the government may feel the need to get that under control before they call the next election. Should it still be a referendum for independence, as has been suggested?
The de facto referendum side of things? I don't think that's going to be the pitch that we'll be taking forward on this occasion, no. I think what is incumbent upon us when it comes to the independence movement is to recognise the stalemate, the fact that we are in this 50-50 logjam, and we have been there for a long, long time now. So we need to break that logjam by going out on the doors and speaking with the people of Scotland, convincing them of our case, and making a real effort to ensure that those polls are consistently higher, and that will put undoubted pressure on the UK government, who are going to have to accede to that at some point. But the big question in terms of process isn't...
Why are they going to have to?
It's not just... But this is the important point. The big question when it comes to process, it shouldn't just be a question for us. It should also be a question for Rishi Sunak, and perhaps most importantly for Keir Starmer and the Labour Party. At what point are they going to allow the people of Scotland to have a democratic say over their own future? Because up till now, Keir Starmer and Rishi Sunak are just one and the same on that particular issue.
So it's not going to happen?
They've said it's not going to happen. That's a completely undemocratic position to take. And if the Labour Party want to run on that manifesto commitment in Scotland, as it appears that they do, then bring it on, because I think the people of Scotland will reject it.
The view is that now Nicola Sturgeon has moved aside, the Labour Party may well be taking more seats up in Scotland.
Well, I think that's wishful thinking in that respect, and there's a key reason for that, because when it comes to the big issues of the day, single market access, customs union access, freedom of movement, our whole entire outlook on migration, which is integral to our economy, when we look at Scotland's constitutional future, where the Labour Party are and where the people of Scotland are completely different. And when we continue to focus on that in the run-up to a general election, I think the Labour Party are going to be sorry for the stance that they've taken.
Is your new leader going to be any better at running the health service in Scotland than he was when he was in charge?
I assume you're referring to the health service, which undoubtedly has challenges. I don't think anyone's shying away from
12-hour waiting list.
There's challenges. There's absolutely no doubt about that, but we have the best performing health service in these entire Isles, and that's an important point. And there's also not been a single day of strike action from nurses in Scotland, in stark contrast to elsewhere in the UK. I didn't say that, Kay. There's undoubtedly challenges within the health service, but I don't think we should discuss the health service without talking about the fact that Scotland's health service is in a far better place than that under the Conservatives in England. So that's an important point to make. Now, there's obviously going to be
None
challenges
of
to
you
come.
waiting on a trolley for 12 hours in a Scottish hospital, it's not.
There's undoubtedly challenges, and there's challenges to come. But one of the biggest challenges facing our health service is the ability to recruit, something which is completely out with our control because the UK government decided to end freedom of movement. So the backlogs that we have, which is one of the key drivers behind the waits in A&Es, is because we can't get the people into the health service who would otherwise have been there. Brexit ended that, and again, the Labour Party and the Conservative Party are both guilty on that front.
It's good to see you as always. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Really appreciate it. Thank you.